get a bit lower just to be exactly where the wind is. Welcome back to the Geordie Wild Camper. It's a blustery, windy night, a little bit of rain, and if you haven't seen the first part of this video, I suggest you go and check it out. We're talking about the Durston X Dome. My God, I've got to be so careful. I've decided to come out in the dark. The weather forecast, we're showing some pretty strong winds and rain, and given the comments from my last video, I thought, why not? Let's get to a pitch in sight. Here's the first estimation. That's 20 mile an hour, 22, 23. So not massive, but it's constant. Let's find a pitch. Okay, we're really struggling here and I'll show you why. So look, this part here, the metal has went inside. Right inside. Oh goodness me. I can't do anything about that. I'm going to try and use me peg to pull it out, but we'll see. Put this on here. Get money can anyway. Done. My God, how this is very difficult. Come on. There you can see what's happening. That is a little cause for concern. Right, both in the middle. There we go. Right, back to pitching. Become pretty difficult to put up when the inner trying to attach it to the guy out points, the little grommets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the tent up, at least the outer, and then attach the bottom. See if that works a bit better. So this is the tent at the moment. We've just had a breakage. All this is absolutely fine. But this crossing pole is a weak spot. That bit that I just showed you earlier on, it comes slightly loose. It's now dropped back into there, and only a little bit was in there when I tried to put the grommets in. So you can see where it's broke. Because it wasn't all the way in, it snapped. Otherwise it would have snapped a little bit higher up, I would have thought. So if this metal bit that's in there had been 50-50 in each of those parts, it probably would have been alright. The hooks are fine. Obviously this main part as well that I showed you, this was loose. So the main bit here, the piping had come loose as well. See the bend that's on it. I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll get the speed now. So show you right where it is. You're looking at, what's that? 16, I'll tell you what I'm going to do highest, hold on. That's wind chill, max. Get a bit lower just to be exactly where the wind is. That's 30, 32. Fuck, absolutely fucked. It's a bit of a crazy end to part 2, isn't it? I'll bring you back to the car when I get down. This is another reason why I came to a place I knew well and knowing I could get down very, very quickly. So in these types of things, when you're coming out to use these types of tents, you need to know where you are, and when you test it to its capabilities, there's a chance it could break. Right, time to get back to the car. So I was going to record in the car, but I wanted to take a little bit of time to reflect on the footage and kind of gather my thoughts before giving them to you guys. So the intention was to go out and test out the trekking pole structure. It was going to be windy, it was going to be 20-25 mile an hour, which I had the tent out in much worse than that, and it was fine. Clearly I identified a bit of an issue, and I thought I'd resolved it. The glue within the aluminium stayed come loose on both of those, causing the issues, and ultimately it caused it to snap because it wasn't seated properly. Now, do I think that's a design flaw? Probably not. It is more a quality issue, making sure that those rods are glued correctly and they can't move, because I probably think the tent would have been absolutely fine in that once I'd guided all out and put the trekking poles in. I've sent the footage to Dan, and I wanted to give him a fair shot at being able to react to the situation and hopefully provide a resolution, and he's been kind enough to provide a little bit of a video message to give some context, so I'll play that for you now.
Stephen, thanks for reaching out and letting me know about that issue you had with your X-Dome tent and giving me the chance to respond. So first of all, I just want to apologize to you. I'm sorry about what happened. To be out in the dark, the rain, the cold like that in the night, and have the tent let you down is super unfortunate, and my apologies about that. I also want to give you an update on just what the issue is and what we're doing about it. So the issue, as you mentioned in your video, the issue is essentially a glue issue where the aluminum insert is not sufficiently glued into place. The poles themselves are working well. These are Easton carbon poles. They've been around for about 20 years. Lots of different tent brands have used them. Lots of good results. And we're seeing good results ourselves in the X-Dome tent when the poles are properly assembled. And then the issue is, of course, that in some cases the poles are not properly assembled. The inserts are not sufficiently glued into place. Right now, we haven't seen a huge number of that. It's been about 1% of tents, but it is a greater number of tents than is acceptable, of course. I've talked to Easton about this, and they've acknowledged there is a quality defect in this first batch of tents, and they apologize, and they're also working to get to the bottom of it. And this is something, again, that is totally solvable. These poles have been around for a long time, lots of good results. Something didn't go right here on all the poles with getting that glue properly applied, but absolutely it's possible, and we'll make sure that happens. For a solution, the main thing I want to say to people is that I passionately stand behind these tents. I care a lot about them, care about the tents, our customers, and we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to make this right in a way that gets people 100% taken care of and can trust the tents again. So for that, while it hasn't been a huge number of cases, it is too many, and it's undermining people's trust in the tent. You need to be able to trust your gear, of course, when you're out in tough conditions. So for that, what we're going to do is we're just going to do a 100% replacement for everybody. So there's just not that risk that somebody's tent is going to let them down in conditions like this. We're going to send out 100% replacement pole sets to everybody in the first batch. For that, there's nothing people need to do. We're going to send out an email update, and then it'll take us a bit of time to get the poles made, but in a few months, we'll have those poles set out. And if in the meantime, until we can get those sent out, if there is an issue, it's likely to occur in the first couple pitches, just when they're put into service. You'll probably see that happening in the first few pitches. So it is something that people can keep an eye on in the first couple pitches, and people can use super glue as a temporary fix if they do have something that's loose. So that's a good way just to keep an eye on them. That's super glue is a pretty good temporary fix. But again, we want to get to like 100% solution that everybody can trust and doesn't have any surprise issues. So we're going to send out replacement pole sets to everybody. For the other issues that you had, I mentioned the doorways, the zippers. So the situation there for the door zippers is that basically every zipper that is light enough to use in a tent is not officially waterproof. They're water resistant. The way it works on the zippers we use, YKK AquaGuard, which are really kind of the best available zippers, is a lot of like cheaper zippers are not waterproof at all. With the AquaGuard zipper, both sides are waterproof coated, but there's still that seam down the center where a bit of water can get through. So what we do is some other companies will design a doorway with a flap. They'll put the door maybe over the interior and have a flap, which works pretty well. But if you get the wind, it still blows open the flap. So the flap is still not 100% effective. So what I do when I design the doorway is I design the door to be fairly steep. So even if water does get pushed through that crack, it's just going to run down the inside and drip at essentially the same spot as if it didn't. And then also we never put a door zipper above the interior of the tent. That's a key thing so even if water did seep through, even if it did somehow manage to drip, it still wouldn't be affecting the occupants on the interior of the tent. So that is my preferred design for a doorway. We've been doing that for over 5 years with our X-Mid tents with good results. And so certainly it is only a water resistant zipper, like basically all tent zippers, until you get to like much heavier ones. But I do think the doorways are designed in a way that provides the protection that people need to be unaffected by that. And then for the vents, I'm not sure exactly what happened there. We have a pretty normal amount of overlap on the flaps of the vents. I don't think I can do that quite right, but we have a pretty normal amount of overlap. It's on a pretty good slope, so it's hard for water to go uphill to get into the vent. Obviously, you did have some splatter through the vent. I'm not sure how that happened. It could have been sort of a perfect storm of like sort of the wind blowing it open a bit and driving rain hitting right there and causing some splatter. We haven't seen other issues like that, so I think largely the vents are working well, but certainly it's something to keep an eye on, and if there's something that we can add more protection, we will. I take that seriously and appreciate the feedback on that. So thanks again for reaching out. Sorry things had to go like this, but we'll get you taken care of, and hopefully things go better on the next trip. Thanks.
Some final thoughts. Thinking of brand advocacy, it's really important that you have faith in the products that you're purchasing. And for me, things can go wrong, but it's important that they're addressed. And I feel like Dan has done a really good job of coming together and providing a response for everyone and a resolution. Anyway, drop your comments, what your thoughts are, what do you think, and I'll catch you on the next one.